This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Alrighty. How you feeling, my man? How was your weekend?
It was very good. How was yours?
Exceptional. Can't complain.
Love it.
Heat won. Marlins swept the sorry-ass A's. Well, they better sweep that bunch.
They're bad.
And unfortunately, the Panthers lost, so it couldn't be a perfect weekend, but it was good. And hung out with the wife all weekend, so that's also a good thing.
Nice.
So I can't complain overall. So let's get to a little Panther talk for first of all tonight. Before we will get to the Dolphins talk, give us a minute here. But the Panthers are obviously in something called the Stanley Cup, so let's get into it. I'm not really panicking at all after that game. Dude, Barkov hits the crossbar, Kachuk hits the bar. El Primo had a couple of shots there. That's cousin in Spanish, by the way, Primo.
I knew that.
Okay, all right. So El Primo, hey, cuz. I've been dying for him to become a guy so we can just, call him cuz or Primo or something like that. Primo. There's just so many things, and especially in this town, and Primo is just like, come on, So plenty of opportunities there. Primo had 2 shots there, okay? 2 people made amazing plays there and all of that. And then I know people were talking about how the Panthers got physical and all that, but I thought it was actually the Vegas Knights that ended up laying most of the wood throughout that night. If people are saying the Panthers should maybe try to worry about not being too physical, I say keep being as physical as possible against these guys because they were responding with their own physical nature too.
Yeah, and then a lot of the stuff that the Panthers got dinged on for physicality or going over the line, whatever, was after the whistle stuff. And it was also like at 4-2 at the end, and it was 5 minutes left. So I don't pay a ton of it. There were some big hits on both sides. And remember, I think I've said this before, the margin in hockey is like this. Yeah. And you mentioned 2 posts. You forgot Montour also hit the post.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then Primo had he literally, if you see the replay, he has like an open tap in for the goal, and he's almost starting, his whole body's almost starting to skate forward to celebrate because he's so sure he scored.
Right.
And he kind of just tapped it in instead of making sure and really
fire it in, lift it up.
And in the air, never imagining that Hill would be able to even get his stick in the way. It's a great save. It's one of those, maybe Cousin could have been more forceful in slamming it home. And then outside of that, the fourth Vegas goal, which is the one that ended it, it's a turnover in the Panther zone. The guy knocks the puck out of midair about his shoulder level. I mean, that's kind of fluky. No, it's a game that easily could have gone.
By the way, the effing skill it takes to knock it out of the air and one time the bitch right off the ice. That was awesome. Okay. That's I don't think people really understand the skill set that these hockey players have. I don't think people really understand how freaking hard it is just to guide that puck straight. Just tapping it straight, bro. I don't think people understand really how hard it is what those people do.
No, I'm not going to puck out of there. You know who's amazing at this? I mean, amazing at this is Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, and for all the talk about how tough he is and how gritty, the number of pucks he knocks out of the air is completely crazy. And that was just a great play by Stone. It's kind of a bad luck goal because the odds are that you shoot it that high, and even if you're not supposed to go across the middle of the ice in your own end. So no, easily a game that could have gone either way. You look at the final. If you didn't see the game, you'll go 5-2. It wasn't a 5-2 game. If you want to be realistic about it. So no reason to push the panic button whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. And not unlike the Heat, this is the funny part. Unlike the Heat, which I thought it was a must win last night, because I don't think they're good enough to beat Denver 4 out of 5. I'm not saying there's a must win tonight for the Panthers, you know what I mean? But I would love for them to win and split the series and come back to Florida, tied 1-1. But tonight, hopefully you can win, but it's not the end all be all if you lose. I think the Panthers can come back and win both, here against Las Vegas.
No, I don't disagree, but all you do is you lose, you reduce your margin for error. So, but no, it could be that all 7 games could turn on one play. And this is why I was fighting you when you were telling me that the Panthers dominated Carolina. There were 4 games that turned on one play, and the Panthers got all of them. Saturday night, they didn't get that one play to turn it.
So what's key? And by the way, you nailed it on Friday. Was it Friday or Thursday? You're on with this Thursday, right? Thursday. Yeah. That's right. It's the afternoon show. You nailed it on Thursday. You said to watch out for Jonathan Marchessault, and he was the guy that snuck in with the first goal, I think it was, right, of the night.
No, it was the first goal, and that it was a bad. And again, the Panthers are a team that's been really, really sound. That was just a really, really bad fundamental play by Brandon Montour, and then we've been singing his praises. I mean, the guy's been phenomenal in the playoffs. He just made a horrible decision of going chasing. He was there's a second guy to go behind the net with the guy with the puck, completely left Marchessault wide open in front of the net for the easy tap in. That's a defensive mistake where the coaches are going to tell him after the game, like, what did you see there? And then you would think that's not going to happen again in the series.
All right, what do you what adjustments do the Panthers make tonight in order to get a victory?
None. Stop hitting the post. I mean, stop hitting the post. And if you have a tap in, assume that the Vegas goalie, Aiden Hill, is going to be able to get his stick. So slam it home. Even though logic tells you that a tap in is all that's required, slam that thing home.
Yeah. No, I'm with you too. I don't think there's much to panic about. All right, so hey, bro, where's the Dalvin Cook trade? I thought he was getting traded to Miami. What's going on here? I'm waiting. All these insiders breaking stories of Dalvin Cook coming to Miami. What's happening?
Yeah, but don't you know that the Vikings are very, very high on Alexander Mattison, that they think he's going to be a star? Really? Yeah, I'm sure that's not them leaking it to somebody, right? I mean, come on.
Not at all.
No. It's like, and dude, if they were going to cut Dalvin Cook, they'd have done it by now. Nobody's trading for his contract. The Vikings are pissed off about his contract. Nobody's trading for that contract. That guy's a hell of a player, but nobody wants to pay a running back. What's his salary call for? Like 10.4 or something to that effect?
Its number is 14 million, but it's 10 because that's the cap number. But it's 10.5 what they'll pay him, because I'm sure the signing bonus is the rest of that from when he signed initially. So yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
No, and then there'll be teams lining up if and when the Vikings actually decide that they will release him, which I'm not convinced they will do. But if they decide to do that, there'll be teams. His agent's going to get a whole lot of calls, and then it's going to become a question of how little is he willing to accept to play in the kind of situation he wants.
Right, because now the talk is, James Cook plays for the Bills, so he might want to play with his brother. But the Bills don't have any money, so you're not going to play for a lot of money for the Bills. And if you want to come to Miami, which is a tax-free state, you're also not going to play for a lot of money. So it all depends on and this is what I've told all these Dalvin Cook Dolphin guys. And they're going to trade for him. No, they're not. They're not going to pay a high salary, and they're not going to trade for him. If he wants to come here, it'll be low-hanging fruit. So it's up to him. But if he wants to D-hop this thing, you can forget about it. He's not coming. They're not paying him. Okay? And you agree on all of that, right?
I completely agree on all of that. And you mentioned the Bills, and the Bills signed Leonard Floyd this morning. So whatever little cap space they had, well, now they have an even less.
Right.
No, it sounds great, and I get it. And the connection's obvious. He's from Miami. He played at Miami Central High. He's a high-end running back. He joins the Dolphins. He's the best running back on the roster immediately. The question is, how big of an upgrade is he over Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson? Now, Devon A-Chain, is he that much more significant, especially for a team that's still going to be pass-oriented? That's the question becomes, okay, how much are you going to spend for a guy given those parameters? And I don't know that the Dolphins are going to go necessarily all that high.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. They have signed everyone except Cam Smith out of the rookies. Is it all just language BS that they're waiting on? 'Cause it's not money at this point, right? Because all that shit is slotted.
Correct. Unless I'm mistaken, and then there could be other factors, and you would have to talk to an agent about that. From my understanding, pretty much the only thing to be negotiated would be like, I guess, in the way, because the salaries are slotted, as you mentioned now with the new CBA. It's like how the money is presented, offset language. If he winds up getting cut and picked up by another team, that could be the only thing that could be standing in the way. But that's not going to take long. Those days of, you remember the good old days of, you were always concerned about a high draft pick. Is he going to be signing in time for training camp? And then you'd get those guys who come in and practice the first 4 or miss the first 4 or 5 days because they still haven't signed their contract. Those days are gone. That doesn't happen anymore.
I just want to see, because hindsight, you always see things a little better, like all of us, after everything that's happened. And I kind of had fun with one of my followers on Twitter, because I thought he sent me a smart ass remark that was one that I disagree with completely.
Okay.
And so I was talking about Jaelan Phillips, and some guy sent me a thing. He goes, yeah, drafting a pass rusher when you could have had a franchise running back. And so I sent back to the guy and I said, no, you're right, man. It's so much more important to fill the most interchangeable position in all of pro sports than getting a pass rusher. You're right. Yeah. Chris Greer is a dumbass. I was kind of, being a smart ass with, with all of that. And then others were kind of, chiming in on it. So a couple years later, you still want Najee Harris over Jaelan Phillips, or are you taking Jaelan Phillips?
No, I'm taking the Jason Phillips. Saying for their position, I'm not even making a judgment for their position whether Najee Harris is a better running back than Jaelan Phillips is a better edge defender. But yeah, if it's even remotely close, you always go with the edge defender. That's not even a question.
Yeah. And by the way, I think he's groomed himself where he is just growing and growing and growing. And last year, I saw a guy that it's like that volcano that the meteorologists or seismologists or whatever the hell they're called, they're like, oh man, are you sensing this? This thing's about to erupt. It's building. Oh man, and they're getting nervous about the volcano about to explode. That's what I felt like with Jaelan Phillips last year, watching him getting so close, and the motor was always going, and the professionalism was beginning to end was always there. And now I think everything that he knows physically and mentally, this is when the volcano explodes this year, I think, for Jaelan Phillips. I think this is a year where you'll never hear from people like that again, who are a little naive to how you build a football team. Because, brother, if you can get a shutdown corner or a pass rusher or a left tackle or a number one wide receiver or a quarterback, you get that before a running back every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
Twice on Sundays. That's an Orlando saying right there. No, there's no question. My thing with Jaelan, I'm curious. I'll be honest with you. I'm curious as to exactly what his ceiling is, because there's so many things to love about Jaelan Phillips. The work ethic, the attitude, everything. I'm not sure. And then because I've heard some comparison with JT, and I'm like, whoa, simmer down. I think
he could be a poor man's JT. At least.
I'm not sure. Yeah, again, I'm not quite sure what his ceiling is. I think he's almost
JT level, because that's just not fair.
No, because JT is like a rare athlete, and I don't know if Jaelan's like that. But again, with the way he works and what he has, I think what you can count on him, he's almost like he's going to be a lock. He's going to be a lock to be good to very good, with the potential, if everything meshes, to be great. That's the thing.
Does he go over 10 sacks this year? I say this.
If you're pinning me down right now.
Yeah, I'm pinning you down right now. We don't have no fence family here.
Okay, I would say on the cusp, but no, he's going to get like 8.5. To me, that I think that's until I see something different. To me, that's his ballpark. But it's almost like he's almost a lock unless he gets hurt to get those 8.5.
You're going to see as the year goes on, hair will be growing out of his face, and on. It'll
Works
be very.
for me. Works for me because
10 plus.
Okay.
10 plus sacks this year for Jaelan Phillips.
Okay.
All right. What else am I overlooking on the Dolphin side? Anything else that a Dolphin fan should know?
Well, I wrote yesterday about Terron Armstead and his celebrity basketball tournament football camp, which in the grand scheme of things, I mean, no, first of all, it's a great off the field thing because they wound up buying a car for the kid who walked 6 miles to his middle school graduation. But I spoke to somebody who attended the event and asked very specifically, did Terron Armstead take part in the basketball game or was he just there, coach? And he did. Yes, he did play. And I was told, yeah, no, he's not like sprinting up and down the court, but just the fact that he's out there running, jogging, that's certainly a great sign.
Right. Yeah. He was. It wasn't like he was cutting and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm sure
like backdoor cuts, or alley oops. No. But again, if there was an issue with his legs,
basketball court is Nikola Jokic. Like, what are you going to do? Block the shot? You're not going to get up there, bro.
Maybe he was moving like Jokic because Jokic doesn't move. I mean, he's a great player, but the movement's not very smooth.
He is a sick talent, bro. I'm telling you, he is he reminds me. I know you're not a big basketball guy, but he reminds me like what we might have seen from Arvydas Sabonis if we got a young Arvydas Sabonis. We got an old Arvydas Sabonis with the Portland Trailblazers, but he had the same kind of skill sets, being old and everything, and it was just one of those things that you would look at Sabonis and go, son of a bitch, if he would have gotten here younger, man, it would have been interesting to see what kind of player he would have developed into. Because maybe also he might have kept himself in better shape too, because he was also, a big guy, dude.
Correct.
But he had a skill set for a big guy. You were like, damn, dude, you can move pretty smooth for a big guy,
No, and those guys, no, and then I remember Arvydas Sabonis very well. I used to be like a very, very big basketball fan. And the thing with him is he passed the ball like a point guard, and he was like 6'11", 7 feet. And that's the same thing with Jokic. I mean, he is smooth with his passing.
Yeah. That's what I think. Arvydas is the young Sabonis that we never saw, in a way. That's kind of the way I kind of view it. All right, what are you working on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yes, we just put out our latest podcast, Omar and I, the All Dolphins podcast, which is on YouTube, on the alldolphins.com page, also on everywhere you find your podcasts under the name Miami Dolphins Insider. We're going to preview the mandatory mini camp, which starts tomorrow. And then not quite sure exactly what we're going to have on the site later today, but just know that there will be stuff.
And follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Don't forget, you must bookmark alldolphins.com. That's what makes you officially a Miami Dolphins fan. So check it out. Alain, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Yes, sir. And we'll talk Thursday, hoping to be discussing a Panther victory in Game 2.
Yes. What you're going? You expecting a win today?
Yes, I do actually, and I think they're going to keep us late tonight. I'm expecting double overtime. Let's say like 3-2 game. That's my prediction.
You son of a bitch! You don't have to do a post game show, right?
Oh, sorry.
Why you got to be wishing on a double overtime? My ass. Jesus.
Dude, I'll be covering the games here in Game 3 and Game 4 later this week, and I may be in the same boat as you because
now you know why these Canadian people have cold hearts. Living up there the entire time, wishing 2 overtimes on my ass. That's just cold-hearted.
I could have said 4.
There you go. Double cold-hearted. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Alain, we will catch up later on in the week when I'm sure I'll be dead tired.
Yes, sir. Have a good one to go.
Later. There you go. Alain Poupart, baby. EJD Construction, 305-433-4843, man. They do it all. Custom home construction, major home remodeling, fully insured, liability and workers' comp, so you are protected. That's what it's all about. A lot of people out there are working and they have no insurance. So if their workers get injured on your property, they can sue you. So make sure whoever you hire, even if you don't hire EJD Construction, you don't want to hire Eric. That's fine. That's understandable. That's your right. But please, whoever you bring onto your property, please, make sure they're fully insured. Because if not, you could get in trouble. All right. And they do it all. Custom home construction, shell construction in-house. That's how they keep the costs down. And it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, from an observation deck to a full kitchen and barbecue and roof in the back, in the backyard. We've got a listener now that is building an efficiency in the backyard because they want to create more. They've got a lot of yards, so they want to create some income and an Airbnb. Boom, there you go. You're in Miami, man. You can do an Airbnb if you have a bigger yard. So that's an idea for you out there, folks. If you you got a big property and you want to make a little extra money, Airbnb is the way to go, or an efficiency, those kind of things. That's, I think, our second listener that has done that. So there's lots of things you can do. Modernize the kitchen. We had another listener that unfortunately had a fire in their home, so they had to remediate the entire home, which is gutting it all out and redoing everything. They do it all, man. Full contractor. They do it all. Custom home construction. A couple of our listeners have made man caves. All right. And also stadium theater. That's another thing that they've done. In fact, we have 2 listeners that have done that now. Stadium seating in their home and all that for home theater system. That is I envy you, because stadium seating is actually so cool with the couches and everything. I don't have that kind of space. I don't have that kind of house, but those of you that do, that is awesome right there. That's a great way to watch sports too. Anyway, call my guy Eric. Dade and Broward only, okay? All right. I apologize in the past, those in Palm Beach that have called, or in Monroe County that have called. 305-433-4843. So if you live in Dade or Broward, they can help you out. EJDconstruction.com, a really strong sponsor of our program for several years now. Please support the people that support us, and they have a AAA rating from the Better Business Bureau. EJD Construction.
This is the Big O Show. This is the